Sunshine, this video is gonna be a little bit different because I will not speak about sex. I know this is a little bit hard to hear, but I know you can do this. You really can. You can do this. I believe in you. Just joking, okay? In this video, I want to share with you something I have been holding off to share with you for actually quite a while, simply because it's been a super personal and really, really intense experience for me. But a few nights ago, I woke up like 3 a.m. in the morning, and there was this voice inside of me telling me that I need to share about this special experience with all of you. So this is what I'm gonna do in this video. I share with you about my really crazy, deep, and almost unexplainable experience of drinking the plant medicine ayahuasca in Peru. So in case you don't know, ayahuasca is known to induce altered states of consciousness. That's why many call it simply the medicine, because it's being said that it helps people to find their purpose in life, heal their body, mind, emotions, and to get a little bit closer to their spiritual side. And in this Q&A, I'll share with you my personal experience with ayahuasca with you. But please always remember, this is how I have experienced it, okay? Other people might have an entirely different experience, so this is really a personal sharing here. And you guys really rocked it on my Instagram. You really asked me amazing questions like what was my scariest moment during the experience, and if I saw something from my past, if I threw up, how it affected my life, and so on and so forth. So some really, really amazing questions. If you want to be included in my next crazy eye-opening experience, then please make sure to follow me on my Instagram, and I promise I will only do wild things because I'm a wild thing. But before we get started, I want you to comment right now in the comments below if you would ever try ayahuasca or if it makes you feel scared. So comment below. I really, 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 really want to know, okay? So my sweet little coconut, let's dive right into all of your amazing ayahuasca questions. So Julno27 asked me how many ceremonies you have been through during one trip. So during this one trip to Peru, I actually went on 4 ayahuasca ceremonies in, I think, 2 weeks, and each ceremony with ayahuasca was really different and really special. None was predictable. None was what I would expected. Next question. So Nature Ho, why Ho? Well, Nature Ho asked me, I've heard that in order to take ayahuasca, one must first throw up. Is it true? And did you feel nauseous after taking it? That's a really beautiful question, because this whole throwing up thing and purging thing was a really big thing for me, because I actually really dislike throwing up. And I think everybody in the Western world has been taught that purging is not a beautiful thing. The thing though is that it's entirely different when you drink ayahuasca. In the first ayahuasca ceremony, I did not throw up. In the second ceremony though, I was, I think, already a little bit more open. My body wasn't as scared as in the first ceremony of what would happen, so the energies flowed more easily through my body. And I must say, it was a really positive experience. I realized what the shaman told me before the ceremony, that purging is actually a really important part of the ayahuasca experience. It helps you to let go of the old, to open up actually to the flows of energy that ayahuasca brings into your body, and it just breaks you open way more, because you feel so much more vulnerable afterwards. And this vulnerability is actually important for you to feel more in your body and to let the energies flow through your body. So next question comes from next question comes from Gabby Raymond. Gabby, peace. And she asked me, what was the scariest part of your experience? Boo! The scariest part of all is when you realize that you're losing yourself. You could literally say you're losing your mind, and that's what it felt like. And it's a good thing, right? We say you're losing your mind or don't lose your mind, but actually it's a good thing to lose your mind, because when you lose your mind, you actually become closer to your soul, and that's a good thing, I would say. But for me personally, feeling how after I drank the ayahuasca and the plant was inside of me, I felt literally how the plant was taking over my body and then my mind, and I couldn't do anything about it. I had no control whatsoever. And that was, for me, I think the scariest part, to feel that I had to fully surrender. I had no control of what would happen next. This is a really beautiful experience because we in the Western world have been taught so much that we have to have control. We need to be in control of our mind, our thoughts, our emotions, of everything. And with ayahuasca, you finally realize that it's actually good to let go of all that stuff because it's tensing you up, it's tightening you up. You don't feel loose. And I realized the more I let go and I give myself over to the plant, the better I could experience what was actually happening in my body. And the deeper I could actually go into the vastness of the darkness of my mind. That sounds very poetic, but that's actually exactly what it is. You really dive into the depths of your mind, and you have not to be afraid when you go there, because you will discover so many things that you haven't seen, that you don't see in your daily life. You will dive into your subconsciousness and so many things will come up. Everything you have experienced in your past, in your childhood, as a baby, as a little girl, as a little boy, anything. And you have to be prepared, and you have to know that you are taken care of. So, Evie Wonder, such a beautiful name, asked me, what was your most intimate experience while being on ayahuasca? Aw, girl, that's like the question I fear the most, because it means that I will have to share a little bit about myself, a little bit more about my life. The most intimate experience I had was actually my first ayahuasca session. Before the session, you have a conversation with the shaman who takes care of you during the session itself. And you have to share a little bit about who you are and what you have been through. Based on what you share with the shaman will then decide of how much you actually get to drink during your ayahuasca sessions. When I shared my story and I shared who I am and the shaman experienced me, he decided that I would get the smallest dose from everybody in the room, simply because he said that I was a very sensitive person and he believed that I didn't need much in order to experience much. So I was like, well, okay, it's true, I cry easily and I'm a very emotional person, so let's see how it goes. Everybody else gets to drink more, so why not me too? But well, I listened to the shaman and I had this small little glass. It was just a tiny little glass. I thought, well, maybe I will not experience much then. So the shaman called me and I drank this little glass. I went back to my mat and I was really anxious and eager to know what would happen. But the shaman just said, everybody chill. They started to sing the ikaros and I laid down and I started to feel what was happening in my body, and I felt how the plant was slowly taking over into every pore of my body, into every crease of my body. And at first it felt like a very sensual and beautiful experience, and I was surprised because I thought, everybody told me I would have to throw up and it would not be a good experience. It would be dark and I would go into the fears and sadness right away. But this is not how it was for me in my first experience. So I felt sensual, I felt aroused, I felt beautiful. It was amazing. But then from 1 second to another, everything changed. I started to get into a fetal position like that. I was laying all of a sudden. My entire sensation of my body changed in a super short moment. My body started to cry out of all the pores. I felt like I was crying from here, from everywhere. And it was not just a little crying, it was a sobbing that came over me. And I didn't know where it was coming from. It just came over me and I was crying. And I touched my face because it felt like my mind was working more slowly than my body. So my body was reacting first, and then my mind was actually realizing, damn, she's crying. I have to take care of her. I found myself in this moment in the body of my 4-year-old self. I was literally my 4-year-old self again. And I had never such a strange experience in my life. I knew I was Adina with this girl right now, yet I felt the experiences and the heart and the sensations of the 4-year-old me. And I was in this fetal position and I felt the sadness of this little girl who was missing her dad, who was wanting that her dad could cover her with a blanket. So I covered myself with this blanket and I felt those tears coming over me, and it was just a very intense experience actually for me, that I still feel the emotions right now. And I realized it was really good for me to go through all these sensations once more so that I could finally let go. I had forgotten of how much pain the 4-year-old me had actually felt of not having her dad anymore by her side, and no one explained to her where he went and if he would ever come back. Yeah, this experience actually really helped me to feel more compassion for what I went through as this young girl, and it helped me to bring up all these emotions to the surface again. And yeah, I'm feeling it right now in my heart actually, and even though I might cry, but it's a really liberating experience, and I feel like with every tear that I cry now, I start to understand better of why I have certain emotions, why I react in certain ways, why I have the kind of relationship that I have to men and male figures in my life. So it's a really beautiful experience, and this was really certainly one of the most intimate experiences I've had and during all the sessions that I've had with ayahuasca so far. My heart's feeling a little bit better, so let's go over to the next question. The next question comes from Adina Mariposa, and she asked, I'm very interested to that thing, curious and scared at the same time. What do you recommend, to go through that experience alone or with a person you can trust? And this answer is so obvious. You have to go through this experience with someone that you trust, and that person should preferably be a shaman, because ayahuasca is not just a fun little project. You drink that thing and then you have a fun time or so. It's a fucking deep black hole, this thing, and you don't know where it's gonna take you. It can take you to the greatest, almost glorious heights, but it can take you also to the greatest and darkest depths and fears. You really have to have someone by your side that you trust. That's why it's so important that you find a good shaman, you find a good place to take ayahuasca, because you are being so vulnerable when you have taken in the medicine. You literally there, and lots of shit happens also. Lots of really not good stories are happening for people who took ayahuasca, especially for women. And it's something that's really, really important for me, that you really take care of yourself when you drink ayahuasca. So don't just do it with anybody. Go to a trusted shaman, research online if that's a trusted person, because you really hand over your physical and your psychological well-being to that shaman. And usually a good shaman, he will take care in so many ways of you. He will take care dark energies out of you with certain techniques, shamanic techniques. He will take care that the energy is cleansed around you. They will sing ikaras to you, which are certain songs that help you to feel more calm, to always songs that always guide you to come back home when you're too deep in a rabbit hole. Yes, girl, please do it with someone that you trust and not just anybody. Find a good shaman, okay? So, next question comes from Pazmak. And he or she, I think it's a she, wrote, wow, please do share Adina. I like when you call me this way. As I'm planning my trip to Iquitos at the moment, and would value immensely your honest, raw perspective. My only question is, how well did you integrate back into the real world after your journey there and back? For me, it wasn't so hard, but the reason it wasn't so hard for me to integrate back into my life and to actually reap the benefits of ayahuasca is that I already live in a very natural setting. I decided to not live any longer in the normal Western world standard setting. I don't have a job where I have to work from 9 to 5. I'm basically pretty free. I have nature right in front of me. It was quite easy for me to actually bounce back into my life. Also, everybody was very open-minded to my experience. Everybody wanted to know how my ayahuasca experience was. It wasn't that some people were pushing me away and thinking I was crazy. So all of this has helped me a lot to really fully integrate what I experienced in Peru. And I think integration is such an important point of ayahuasca, if not one of the most important points, because one part of the journey is that you drink ayahuasca. Yes, that's interesting, that's exciting, you're gonna have visions and all that stuff, but the really important part is, what are you gonna do afterwards with all the experience and all the insights that you have had? I've heard from lots of people having all these great visions and insights, yet they didn't do anything afterwards with these insights. And then what did they do it for? What was it for? There will only be a change happening in your life or in my life if I take action, if I know something is better and I do it better. Not just I know it better and that's all. What makes the change is doing things, and that's the same with ayahuasca as well. Integration, especially if one has had a really hard and intense trip is really, really important. Sometimes people need to seek a therapist afterwards, or they need to seek someone that they really can speak openly about everything that they were going through, because you break open your mind, and what you get confronted with in your mind sometimes hurts and it's painful, and it makes you want to change everything about your life, everything about who you are and what you're doing and what you're wearing and what you're eating, and that can be crazy. But imagine you have to go back to your 9-to-5 job. Nobody really gets what you have experienced during ayahuasca. Nobody really understands why now you want to eat healthier, you want to live healthier, you want to think healthier. You can share with actually no one how it makes you feel. That's so hard, because your soul and your entire being is yearning to become that greater version, but no one is supporting you. What I want to say is integration is a really integral part. It's really important that you find people who support you on your journey, who you can talk to openly. And it's also really important that you take action, because Mama Ayahuasca gave you lots of information and you have to put this information into action. So next question comes from Mikun Tiu. Kind Tiu. And she asked, what did you do to prepare for this experience? Good question. I love this question, because I think preparation next to the integration after the ayahuasca experience is also super, super important. A couple of weeks before my ayahuasca experience, I did a water fasting. But the thing is, I wasn't aware that I was cleansing for ayahuasca. Actually, during my water fasting experience, I all of a sudden had this insight that I have to do ayahuasca. Somehow I think ayahuasca came to me and told me that this cleansing was to experience ayahuasca in my body. Water fasting basically helps you to rid your body off of impurities physically, and later on also mentally, emotionally, and then much later also spiritually. So it's a great, great way to prepare your body for all the powerful energies that you're gonna experience during ayahuasca. And another thing that I did before the ayahuasca experience was that I had to go on a particular diet where I didn't consume any sugar and any salt. So that resulted in a lot of really plain meals. Another really, really big thing was that I wasn't allowed to have any sexual intimacy with anyone. Not that I have so many, but not even with myself. So it was really hard. 4 weeks. No sexual intimacy with myself or with someone. Just thinking of this makes me want to cry. But anyways, I did it. And at first I didn't understand it. Now I'm understanding it much better. It's a really, really interesting topic, this whole topic of sexuality. They say that sex is one of the most powerful energies. Ayahuasca is a really powerful energy, and just it does mingle very well. Well, there might be lots of different opinions, but I'm starting to understand why it's really so important. So these were the things that I had to do to prepare my body, mind, and soul for the experience of ayahuasca. So next question, really important question, comes from Sadla Martha, and she asked me, how do you know where to go to find ayahuasca? If you want to go check out ayahuasca, you want to experience it, don't just do it for a night experience. Make it a really sacred experience, the sacred experience that it actually really is. So you have to go out there and research. I went to a place in Peru. I'm gonna link in the comments below the place that I went to, and it was a really beautiful experience. They really took well care of me. It was nice shamans. I'm sure there's also lots of other great places, but I've also heard that there's lots of places that you should better not go to, and some people reported some really bad experiences. Again, I'm just saying, you're being very vulnerable when you're on ayahuasca, so you really have to make sure that there's people around you that you can trust with your body, mind, and soul. You really want this all together when you get out of this experience, okay? Last question comes from, I cannot say the name because it's not a name, it just says SC4N1N. Or wait, Gornan. Anyways, the question is, would you do it again? Yes, and I will do it again. Actually, I will already go at the end of this year to Brazil and immerse myself again into the experience of ayahuasca. And it's not that it's necessary to drink ayahuasca to become a greater person. It's just that I realized my channels have now opened up to ayahuasca, and I feel that my next journey will have entirely different insights. And I feel I had enough time during this last year to integrate the experience from my first experience And I feel I'm really gonna be ready to experience more and to get more insights and to work more on myself. So yes, I'm really excited to try it again. Okay, my sunshine, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A of mine. It's really, really important to me that you don't get any mixed message from this Q&A, okay? Ayahuasca is not a miracle cure, okay? In the sense that you drink it and then all of your troubles will vanish within a couple of hours. It is magical though, in the sense that it can bring the unconscious, the pain, your fears to the surface, and this, my love, can actually help you to really work through them, because we can only heal what we know we have to heal, right? And the more you work through your past, your sadness, your fears, the better you will feel about yourself and the better you will get to know yourself. All I can say is that it's really, really worth it to help yourself heal emotionally and physically and to become the greatest version of yourself. It will give you a purpose and a true sense of why you are here on this crazy, wild, big blue planet. And with all this, life will become even more exciting and you will find true joy deep inside of you. Okay, my sunshine, I'm sending you much love. Peace. I'm out of here. Like ayahuasca and my mind on ayahuasca. Bye.